So, George, for the sit and reach test, for reliability, the test was really reliable. Say we had the right equipment, we had the sit and reach box, but the only problem we did not have is the metal bracket to place on that acts as a magnet, so that way it could stop properly when you reach out. But we did use that piece of paper that would help for me to take the readings down for when you did get to your certain point. And as well as you had your no shoes on, your legs were perfectly straight, your back was on perfect position. Yeah, the test was really reliable. This test also was just very easy to conduct. All we needed was a bench and a bit of paper to really go with it. So the test himself, it can be very easily done, easily set up anywhere, but it can be done by one person and it's very cheap to do. But when it comes to comparing your results, you hit 13 centimetres. Well, you got more than that, but when it gets to 15 centimetres, then it starts pushing. And after the 15 centimetre mark, you pushed for another 13. So you just managed to hit the excellence category. So you literally just scraped the borderline with it as well. But I mean, the strengths are you show you have great flexibility when your body's in full extension, but you did struggle when holding it. So sometimes we had to redo the test because you let go too soon and wouldn't hold it. It's like you're trying to push it instead of keep it there. In our last in one of our results, let me just look. Yeah, in our final result, that's where you held it perfectly instead of just pushing it away. So that's how you got your best one, because you listened to our telling you and coaching you with. So if you gain a bit more flexibility to endure the pain, you won't be able to push it. You can be able to keep it down this time. So recommendations for you, George. You need to focus on more static stretching when doing warm-ups before you're exercising, because I don't believe you are stretching right. I believe you're going straight into cardio when you get ready for your warm-ups. So I'd say you're looking at, or you can look into an online yoga program. That's like 30 minutes, 3 nights a week. It's just very short, basic things to help you just get the full maximum stretch, really. Right, we're going to move on to your 30 metre sprint test. So once again, test was reliable, was easy to set up. The only thing we did not have was speed gates, which could have helped, but I mean, we have to go with the data off the stopwatch and where I could see you were. So test once again was just simple to conduct. It's nothing time consuming. It could have been time consuming if I have to go set up for speed gates, because that means I just have to line them all up. But even though it would give you more realistic data, I believe we got a really good estimate to what you got. So yeah, it was easy to do. I set up to one person. Just need an area of 30 meters. So when comparing your results, the normative data did say you hit the poor category, which is not good for a footballer, especially for a wing back. Someone who needs to burst the pace, gunning up and down the wing to retrieve the ball. You need to have in an elite level of football, you need to hit 4 seconds or under. So the thing is with you, George, your strengths was you had a very good acceleration push, but after that you just started slowing down straight away. So you had a good second or two of just burst of power, and then all of a sudden you slow down. It's because you're not keeping your cardio up with it right, and you're not focusing on keeping the acceleration going to max with your sprint speed. So, and as well, I believe after the testing, between each test, I understand you can get fatigued and tired, but your cardio did not seem the greatest after you finished the test, and you seemed very fatigued muscle-wise straight after. So recommendations, I already understand that you're training football 3 days a week, so you're already going to be slowly improving with your speed. But for the next 6 weeks, you need to start looking at more more you're bursting your acceleration than keeping it there. So I'll look into, like, once again, your meter sprints. So I'll go 10, 20 and the original 30. So the 10 meters, we'll mainly be looking at acceleration and the power taking off. Then we will move into the 30 meters, which will be looking at keeping the speed up without slowing down. So you'll be repeating the original test. And for the 20 meters, that's just for you to get on and just keep practicing and keep running without trying to get tired with it. It's not, that 20 meter one ain't that hard, but I say you need to be doing this and drilling this in training, or if you can find time for it, at least twice a week. So moving from speed, we're going to start talking about your arrowhead run. So when following the protocol, it was we did not have any normative data. The best we can find is from Top End Sports is the decathlon, who achieved 15.49 seconds, which is roughly about 7.75 seconds each side. So with assuming your results, comparing to it, I would have said you got in the average category, because that's the only thing we have to an elite standard. So yeah, I'd say average would be a fair analysis. So we did have some faults when trying to set up the test. Where it was set up wasn't a safe area. There was wet patches all over the place. It was near a wall. The test itself could have been done very dangerously. But I say the test itself was easy to set up. All we needed was a few cones to go and a stopwatch, a bit of measuring tape. That's about it. But your strengths and weaknesses really is when turning, you did get a good boost of pace from your acceleration. But when cutting around the corner, especially to his left side, showed to be worse than his right, you need to try and look at your better technique instead of the speed aspect of it right now. So it's just trying to how you're going to get around it sufficiently instead of just trying to pace around it. So I'd recommend, obviously, once again, your football, your agility is going to be slowly getting better each time, but you need to start putting yourself in more in-game situations. You need to have, like, say, another defender that can try and stop you, like try reach out and touch you or tackle you if you're on a ball. So if you put yourself in that, it not only is it going to improve your agility, it's going to start to improve your forward attacking play when you are playing football. Alright, but as well, it's like if you start looking at like the Illinois agility test, and that way we can have more sets of data to look from and what can be improved. And when we go back to the arrowhead run, then we can start looking at what you can be doing here. Alright, the vertical jump. So this test wasn't reliable, to be fair, because the piece of equipment we wanted to use originally, the jump mat, was not available for us. So we had to go with the measurements on the wall, which can only be through me looking at it. And as it's such a quick time, we might not have the perfect results, but we feel like we have a good estimate of what we have. So yes, we do have some problems in it, but the test was, once again, it was just easy setup. It was one piece of equipment, so it was just easy to do, and it was easy for you to take part in as well. So according to Brian Mack, which by the way I used for all of my normative data and trying to set up the test, besides from the agility test. So Brian Mack says that you got just above average, which is good for a footballer, but it's poor, because at the same time, it's, so you look at it, it's, as you're a defender, you need to be leaping up to head the balls away. So even though you got above average, you still need to be good on excellent category to make sure you're doing better. So we're going to try and say your strengths and weaknesses behind it. You had a good physique for strength, so and you had a very tall frame. So when you leaped up, you had that original good burst of power going up as well. As with your height, it was easier to get higher up the wall. But for the recommendations, I say we'll need to look at programs for the aspect of jumping and stuff like that. So I need you to look at going to the gym 3 days a week. So if I laid it out for you, if Monday you'll be weight sessions that work for legs, the back area, so mainly deadlifts and squats, which are weighted activities. He won't need a lot of weight. He'll just need to work on exploding the bar and his body up. So you'll need to have several reps and sets. A bit like an endurance workout, but it's just all about focusing on the movements. So Tuesday, a day after a weighted workout, your body will need an easier day of exercise. So this should be doing like pulse movements, for example, like half crunches, half press ups, some burpees, mountain climbers to engage the core. Then simple cardio like skipping and slow jogging is used to create a bounce of motion, so the body is prepared for when doing this exercise. So on the last day, on Thursday, which will be explosive jumping workouts, several burpees, squat jumps, box jumps, skipping, working on the vertical jump even more, then trying to redo the test as much as you can, so that way you can start looking at your results and comparing them every between the 6 weeks. So next one is your 1 minute setup test. So this test was just, once again, simple to do. It was very easy. We got a good estimate of how much you got. You had some setups that didn't count because unfortunately your elbows did not touch your knees, so that would not count as a full setup. But other than that, comparing the data, you managed to hit the excellent bracket by 4. So that is good, but we need to look at pushing you. You need to get 10, more than 10 above the excellent category. So what I'd recommend for you is obviously start looking at your core area. You need to do endurance workouts. So you need to keep on redoing this test as well. So you need to look at your crunches. You need to look at your plank. You need to be holding these positions for about a minute each time. So that way we can get a good estimate. Then that way we can start slowly bringing the time up. So this is going to look at, so we can have a new benchmark each week for what we are hitting. So it's just for that slow like build up and achievement. And finally, the skin fold test. So this test was, it's not the most reliable test, as we have to, because the equipment is, you can get a different reading with different people. I can do it, or you can do it on yourself, and you'll get totally different readings in the same areas. But the test was easy to conduct once again, but it's not very practical because we won't get the same results each time. So we have to make sure that we get a good estimate of what we have. But according to the data from Brian Mack, you got, once again, in the excellence category, with what the readings we got, we had 6.84% of body fat, which is good. But the one thing we did miss out is for the fact we couldn't get your quadricep in. Even though it wasn't part of the planning, it is being added to the normative data. So I feel like if we added your quadricep, you would have at least got anywhere between 9 and 12%, which would be still in the excellence category. And it will be in that category for a footballer specifically. So what I'd recommend for you, George, is you're already in the elite category. You just need to maintain your body fat. So obviously you're doing your cardio with 3 days of football a week. So you just need to focus on toning up your muscles and getting rid of that excess fat. So when you go to the gym, say look at endurance programs once again, this will shred off the leftover fats you have and tighten up the muscles. Then from that point, we can start looking at hypertrophy, weight training to build up the muscles without gaining the fat back. But also, I notice your nutrition sometimes is not the best, because every time I see you snacking on something that's a bit fatty or it's got a bit more sugar. So we need to start replacing them foods. Get rid of them unnatural sugars for natural sugars through fruits. Get rid of your processed fats with more lean cut meat instead of McDonald's burger, for example. But your nutrition should be recommended in every single testing, because nutrition is going to be the thing that gives you the energy to do so. Well, thank you very much, George. If you've got any questions, please be free to ask. Right? Okay, that's fine.